Inside your digestive tract, chronic stress acts as a physical adversary, applying relentless internal pressure, eventually causing your health to fracture from the inside out. We experience two distinct types of this pressure. Acute stress is a short-term reaction to immediate external triggers. Chronic stress, however, is a long-term state, often driven by the way the human brain manages its own executive functions. This happens because your brain operates in two modes. One is a functional organ that runs the body's systems. The other is a risk manager dedicated to managerial forecasting. This risk manager has the freedom to go overboard. Every time your reality falls short of your expectations, the brain performs mental exercises that simulate threats, creating a continuous cycle of pessimistic forecasting. These purely mental exercises are dangerous because the body treats them as real. Worrying is a self-inflicted wound that translates psychological anxiety into physical damage. The primary target of this internal pressure is the enteric nervous system, a specialized network in the gut, often called the second brain. This second brain is highly sensitive. It reacts to the executive brain's unchecked forecasting as if a physical catastrophe were occurring in the moment. It is a strange biological irony. The organ designed to predict and protect you from danger is the very thing launching a physiological attack on your own digestion. This attack follows a specific biological bridge called the HPA axis, which connects your brain's stress response directly to your gut. When chronic stress activates the HPA axis, the brain triggers the release of corticotropin-releasing factor, or CRF. This chemical travels into the digestive tract, acting as the primary signal for the gut to shut down or overreact. Once the CRF is released, it inhibits upper GI digestion. This delays stomach emptying and weakens the protective mucosal defenses, often resulting in GERD or peptic ulcers. Simultaneously, the same chemical signal overstimulates lower GI motility. This creates the rapid, erratic movements responsible for IBS flares, including chronic constipation and diarrhea. Stress literally tears the digestive process in half, paralyzing the top of the system while forcing the bottom into a violent overdrive. Beyond the broad movement of the organs, the damage reaches down to the microscopic cellular environment of the gut lining. Psychological stress actively alters the microbiome. It kills off beneficial bacteria like lactobacillus, creating an opening for harmful microbiota to thrive and weaken the intestinal barrier. This is worsened by mast cell degranulation, a stress-induced reaction that floods the gut with inflammatory signals, causing the mucosal lining to swell and degrade. As the inflammation persists, the intestinal wall loses its integrity. The tightly interlocked cells begin to separate, creating increased permeability, a condition often referred to as leaky gut. While the structure is breaking down, stress also lowers the gut's threshold for pain. This makes the physical damage feel even more intense, amplifying the discomfort of every IBS flare. Chronic stress doesn't just disrupt the way you digest food, it erodes the structural walls of your gut and turns up the volume on the pain signals they send. This process also hijacks because 90 to 95% of your body's serotonin is produced in the gut, not the brain. Serotonin is the key chemical regulating your mood, sleep, and even wound healing. While acute stress can cause a temporary spike in serotonin, chronic stress will eventually exhaust these systems. Over time, the constant demand for stress management drains the gut's reservoir. This chemical bankruptcy leads directly to emotional fatigue, anxiety, and depression. The gut can no longer supply the brain with the resources it needs to maintain stability. When the risk manager in your head worries too much, it physically bankrupts the very factory that produces your happiness. Since a pessimistic thought translates directly into physical damage, the only way to protect the gut is to proactively intercept the signal. We can disrupt this top-down cascade by providing the nervous system with calming sensory feedback. Research shows that using essential oils and specific blends can act as a physical intervention, helping to dampen the biological alarm before it triggers the CRF cascade. However, physical tools are only half the solution. We must also train the brain's risk manager to accept reality as it is, rather than as it should be. By reining in unrealistic expectations and pessimistic forecasting, we cut off the HPA axis activation at its source, preventing the chemical attack on the gut before it starts. This requires a shift in priority. recognizing that the physical health of your gut is more important than the accuracy of your brain's worst-case scenarios. Long-term digestive health begins the moment you stop letting your brain's fear of the future destroy your body's ability to function in the present.